Hello, everybody. I am, you guessed it, Dr. Dream, and
Woohoo!
you are
Woohoo!
here for, I like that. Just, okay. You're here for the It's All Good Circle. Tonight is Monday, October 13th, 2025. And we have an exciting evening ahead of us. But then you all show up because you already know that every Monday night we have an exciting evening ahead of us and that we're here to make sure that by the time you leave in 90 minutes, you got something that is going to assist you, support you, love you, become foundational in your life, any of those things, or hey, all of those things. You notice that I changed my background for tonight because, well, here's the thing. My thought was this is a really high vibe discussion. And while I like my It's All Good Circle background, I really felt like this was like, okay, just tonight we're radiating everything out. And I want to get to, I want to just tell you some different things that have gone on for me in the last week. I completed two new websites on my own in the last week. Be and Quantum Alliance D2 quantumallianced2.com. That's the collaboration of Dr. Dream and Daryl Virginia Dennis. And it is, boy, exciting is such an understatement, but I can't think of another word right now. It's like stellar. It's like out of this world. It's like deeply rooted in the fifth dimensional quantum field. And okay, I think I did it justice with that. So those things were a major accomplishment. I'd been wanting to get to them, and I decided no time like the present. And then Saturday, so a couple days ago, I interviewed Dr. Nikos. And Dr. Nikos is the director of the Humanopathy Academy based out of the UK. And I met Dr. Nikos in Dallas. So did Phil when we were there earlier this year. And didn't get to have a lot of time with him, but I felt this man's energy and I was just like, oh my gosh. So after the conference, I'd been saying, Dr. Nikos, you and I really have to talk and have a Zoom and all this. And things finally settled down for both of us. And I interviewed him on Saturday. But prior to that, several months ago, I interviewed Donna, who has an EE system. Actually, she has 2 or 3 EE system centers in Greece. And she is an amazing, amazing being. We hit it off right away. One of those, like, oh, yes, another life we have together because we had some stellar times in past lives, no doubt about it. And she talked about this Humanopathy Academy, and I was like, oh, I'm super interested. And then Dr. Nico shows up and says, I'm ready to have a conversation with you, Dr. Dream. And I will just share with you that at the end of the phone call, I put in my application. Like literally, the Zoom was done, and I put in my application to start this postgraduate program for certification in humanopathy. And I'm going to read you a couple things about the academy. This is from the about page on the site, humanopathy.com. And it says, welcome to Humanopathy Academy, where a transformative journey awaits medical doctors and accredited therapists. The term humanopathy combines the word human with the Greek word pathos, which means passion. This reflects our dedication to uplifting humanity. Our academy stands as a beacon of advanced, effective, and uplifting practices driven by a humanitarian intention to contribute to, explore, and share knowledge. Our mission is to empower medical professionals, therapists, and therapists with cutting-edge practices. Through years of dedicated research and practical experience, we have developed a comprehensive training program that seamlessly integrates various therapeutic modalities. Our focus is on enhancing diagnostic procedures to identify the root cause of diseases. And it goes on to share that they are committed to ushering in a new era in which health issues are addressed at all levels of human existence, bringing together the voices and expertise of leading doctors and researchers. And the mission is to promote a deeper understanding of health by integrating science and research with a passionate commitment to enhancing medical awareness. We aim to address health problems on physical, mental, emotional, and human biofield levels, recognizing the interconnectedness of these dimensions in the human experience. And
wow.
it is mind-blowing, and literally signed up, got approved, and everything's moving forward. I will be in the second group that they've offered. They had one group before that started in August. I believe 5 people were in that group and are in that group. And I'm the second one that's signed up. So I'm like the 7th person that has signed up for this certification program. It's open to anybody, but it is geared. There's a special aspect of it that is geared for EE system center owners. And so this is a major deal. Dr. Sandra is part of this. The developer of the BioWell system, Dr. Karakoff, I believe his name is, or something along those lines. I probably just butchered it. And many other like top leading edge researchers and educators and inventors. And I'm beside myself. And the program can be less than a year. You can take a year, or he said you can take 3 years. And I said, I'm committing to getting through this program in a year. And it's exciting for me because it's next level. You know, it is absolutely next level. And I'm tearing up. It is a huge reminder for me that my work here is not done, and it's tip of the iceberg. And so this really, okay. Wow. All right. Well, you know what it means to me. This is like on the deepest level. So it's been a huge week. I'm also getting weekly IVs where they take out 55 cc's of my blood. They mix it with ozone and put it through a UVC light, and then put it back into my body. And then I get high dosages of vitamins. So it's a 2-step process. I'm doing this for 10 weeks. I'm on a parasite cleanse. I'm on a candida cleanse. I'm working on my heart health. Like I say, I am not done here. There's a lot more in the works. Also, today, all right. So at the beginning of this year, we decided that our last event would be in March. And the reason was that I have a very big dream for my life and for humanity. And I felt like there's no way that I could do it while touring. And so we stopped our tour in March, and we went ahead, and I've been writing and putting together an entire production. And I'll just tell you right now, for a Las Vegas show. And we are positioning ourselves for a 2-year residency in Las Vegas. and it is consciousness expansion masquerading as entertainment. And this is the biggest, most exciting single project. The biggest and most exciting thing in my life is my life. But this is the single most exciting project I've ever embarked on. And today, I finished it. I finished the whole thing, from all 4 acts completely written out, the timing, the what happens where, everything. And it's been a challenge, and it's been the greatest challenge. And so anyway, been a big week. Detoxing, and apparently some of it's coming out in my tears. So I'm just I'm super excited. So I want to introduce tonight's It's All Good Circle, and the title is Personal Practices that Elevate Consciousness. And I'm wanting for everyone who wants to share. And so there's 15 of us on, and so we have let's say we're going to end up with 70 minutes. So I'm like, all right, 70 minutes, 70 divided by 15. Everyone's going to have 5 minutes, and we may go just a little bit over, and some of you may not want to speak, but we're going to have 5 minutes. We'll have it on a timer. We'll stick to the timer. And what we'll do is we'll share something from our lives, from our life experience, be it a practice, epiphany, lesson, or something else that changed us for the better, that elevated our consciousness. And I'm going to start, and then Phil's going to go, and then Susie's going to go, and then the rest of you will fill in. So I made this topic last week, and so I've had an entire week to think about it and to dream about it. And of course, it all is coalescing right now in this moment. And for me, there have been so many epiphanies, lessons, and realizations and experiences that have absolutely changed my life and elevated my consciousness. But if I were to pinpoint one thing, it really has to do with that moment, or those moments, when I started living each and every aspect of my life committed and dedicated to my purpose and mission in this lifetime. And honestly, that didn't just come about like one day and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, this is it. It came about over a number of years. And then at a certain point, it just took form, and everything in my life had to do with my purpose and mission. And if I were to describe it in this moment, it would be that I exist to be in service by creating value for each and every person I'm fortunate enough to interact with, and for humanity as a whole. And that's why I do the 20-minute phone calls with individuals, and I don't ask for anything except for people to show me their commitment. This is why I'm creating the Las Vegas production. This is why I've done 821 events all over the world since January of 2010. And this is why I didn't die when I had my back-to-back strokes. This is what my life is about. This is the guiding thought in each moment, in each waking moment. And honestly, this is what I dream about. And I mean, because of this, I don't get depressed. I don't get down about life. Because this is this is it. And all it is for me, it's juicy and exciting. And I've always known that my life was to have an impact. When I had my back-to-back strokes, Stephanie and I were coming off a very successful tour, as it had been since about 2 years into starting it. The first couple of years we were really building it. And I often say that I don't need to do any of this for income, for anything. We could retire and have a very nice, lovely life in Idaho with family, which we're doing right now, by the way. But that's never been it. I've often said that I never signed up for the Club Med reality experience, and so I forgot to turn the timer on when I started speaking, but we've probably gone into my time frame. We're still good. It's 51 minutes after the hour. But this is it for me. And those of you that know me already, like Daryl, you know this about me. Vienna, you know this about me. Most of you here know this about me because you have been part of my experience at a deeper level than just on the surface, because I'm not about having surface level experiences with anyone. I think that's a waste of human interaction. And I believe if someone's not ready to go deep, they don't show up in my experience. And so I don't hold back. This is exciting. This is what elevates my consciousness every day, because all that is attracted to me, all that I'm magnetizing in my experience, is related to the purpose that I just shared with you. And so my purpose, my elevated consciousness is more elevated right now in this moment than it was 24 hours ago. And it just keeps expanding and keeps expanding and keeps expanding, because that's what I'm calling forth. And then I meet Daryl, and we get to talk daily about fifth dimensional quantum field and how it works. And now we're making videos about it. And again, expansion, and all playing into my purpose and my mission here. And so I could have talked about, great tensor ring tools and all the different tools and different practices that I do daily and this and that. But the core, the one that's there when I'm doing everything else and that is attached to everything else, is what I've just shared with you. So thank you for allowing me to share. Thank you for being here to listen to this. I'm looking for the timer so we can move on. And I did. Oh, no. Okay, I found it. And we're going to go with 5 minutes. And Phil, I'm going to just turn everything over to you right now. Here you go.
Well, I love to follow things like Dr. Dream. I'm just kidding, because normally I would turn and run. But okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the title of my 5-minute essay tonight is The $35 Million Verdict. And that's a true story. Myself and my wife were involved in a lawsuit for my wife's brother, who had a brain injury, and we got him a $35 million verdict. Well, with that comes a lot of things, and long story short, courts, banks, and attorneys turned it around on us and tried to basically put my wife in prison based on her goodness and her well-doing for her brother, but it's all about the money. We were looking after too much money, and banks, courts, and attorneys did not like that, and it became a tangled mess. That being said, all messes lead to some really quality, interesting things. And so I own a company. We're in our office. I received this flyer in the mail, and it talks about improve your golf game. And I, at that time, was an avid golfer. I'm like having some struggles with my golf game. My wife says, buy the program, just buy it. So I did. So I get the program. This was back in 2007 or 8, and I get these CDs, and this was a program called the Release Technique, which originated in Sedona, originally called the Sedona Method. And Larry Crane and actually Lester Levinson was the creator. He was from Sedona. Larry Crane took it over from Lester as he passed away in his 80s, when he was supposed to pass away in his 50s. So I get this course, I take it home, I lay on the bed, I start listening, and I'm like, this isn't about golf. They tricked me. Well, I had an out of body experience, the one and only out of body experience that I've ever had, where I found myself sitting up on the ceiling, looking at myself lying in bed. It was bizarre. Well, I took this practice finally to the golf course. And I walked up to the first tee. I put the tee in the ground, set my ball on the tee, stepped back, did all my pre-swing ritual. We all, as golfers, we have this thing that we do. We get ready, we get set. And so I got everything lined up and I walked away. That was the premise of the release technique, was to get out of the way. So mentally I left. I told the universe, you know how to do this better than I do. You just go ahead and hit the ball, because you're going to do it as well or better than I could ever do it. So you just go ahead. So that's how I started playing golf, is I started setting everything up and I would leave. And I started making putts from everywhere. I started hitting balls, and if I hit a bad shot, I knew that the next best thing was going to be a really good shot. So my golf game improved. It was just a methodical way of getting out of the way. And so I'm sharing that because it was a system that taught me how to allow myself to be engaged but leave, and not let the ego be in the way, because too many times the ego gets in there and starts questioning, and which way is the wind blowing, and what is it, no, your left foot is too far forward, and that, I mean, sometimes we get in the way of ourselves, and golf is a great example of playing as a personal. You are out there playing the golf course by yourself. You happen to be playing with others, but it's you and the golf ball and the golf course. And so you have that personal relationship going on with your body, your mind, your soul, whatever. And so this practice taught me several things in life, and that's where the Mr. B came from, because I created this sacred sanctity beyond my brain where God lives, and I called that my place of be. And that's my sacred sanctuary where I can go wherever I want. I can just say be, and my whole body flushes all the energy that's not where I want to be, and puts me into that state of just total neutrality. Everything is perfect. Everything is perfect in my life at that moment. Then I can clear, and then I can engage, and I can go about being clear in what I'm doing. And so that I just wanted to share that story, and it's just a way for me to thank you.
Bill, thank you so much. Anyone you want to thank for this award? That's always sounds to me like the Oscar music when they're walking up from the front row to accept your award. I think you have to thank Mary at least. We'll mail it to you.
Yeah, I'll let the ego go out of the way.
All right. So thank you, Phil. I love you. I
Yep.
love B, and your story and your example is always so wonderful. Um, Susie, are you there? I can't
I
always.
am.
All right. Well,
Yep.
let's go ahead and let's get you in there. Here we go. Susie Casaro.
Okay, so I've done several modalities over the last 50 years, and it's been all about unraveling a very dysfunctional mental state that I had grown up in and took on as if it belonged to me and wore it like it belonged to me. And so it's all been it's all just kind of pushed me along and raised my consciousness. And then in 2018, I had this great fire over a super full moon, and I kept throwing sticks into the fire and animating them. And um, for just, it's like whatever's left, it's like just have it, burn it up. It's like I don't have to know what it is anymore. It's like I know that it's, there's layers, there's hidden places. It's like just take it away from me. And 2 weeks later, I started writing in the way that I write now, and I built a website. And so that was basically my way of, it's like all of a sudden I wasn't hiding anymore. So I've just actually been reborn again in 2018 with my writing. And so now with Daryl and Gail and Victoria and Dr. Dream, it's like I feel like my wings are starting to fledge, and I'm learning about paragraphs, reading. I'm relearning how to read, and I'm making a podcast, which I had to write code for my Mac, which I've never done before, and made a podcast with I'm not going to be in it except for my voice. And so I had to come up with some kind of moving picture on the front, and then my voice and music in the background, reading my writing. And so I did a sort of a trial run today, which was it was fun. I stumbled as I was reading, but it after listening to it, I can see where improvements. It's like um, every and this really excites me. And if I'm excited, then I know that my level and my frequencies are up there, because I'm doing this because there's people that enjoy my writings, and I think reading them might make it easier than learning grammar. Although I will have to learn how to space my speech, and that's fine. That'll be fun. But Dr. Dream got me going on that, and there's several people. It's like I take a little bit here and a little bit from there, and it's like it just at night I listen to this wonderful 2 hour. Of course, I always sleep before it's over with. Joe Dispenza's um, meditation of there's just all these beautiful affirmations to just sink that into my subconscious. And review is like if I of course I haven't had any, but lately if there's things that okay, well the thing that that got to me, that is that's getting to me, is that I want to really be conscious about what I'm taking into my body and paying more attention to that, because I have been pretty mindless about when I'm drinking water or when I'm eating. And every time that I'm doing it now, I remember that I forgot. And so I've remembered that I forgot so many times in the last 3 days that now I'm remembering that when I take that water, I'm just really consciously infusing it with love and light and gratefulness to really have it be a high frequency act that I'm doing. And I want to incorporate that with everything that I do, dishes or, mowing my lawn or whatever it is. And it's an interesting process, and it's like, and I'm not getting on myself or, oh, you forgot to do that. It's like, oh, okay, wow, it's easy to forget. It's what is the curious thing is it's really easy to forget from one moment to the next. And so I'm being reminded a lot now to remember in the moment what I'm doing and the kind of energy that I want to put into it. And having this group as in the background of my mind, and everything that what everybody is doing is just really stimulating that place in me that wants to do more. Is it 5 minutes?
You're right there. You're right there. I'm just going to wait for the sound to go because I think it's such a great sound. It celebrates. Susie, you have enriched my life from the moment that we connected. And today on my drive, I got to listen to your first recording, and it touched me so deeply. I had already read for myself what you recorded, and I thought, I don't ever want to read your stuff again. I want to hear your voice sharing it. And so I'm so excited that you're moving into a new realm and expanding, and darling, your wings are beautiful. All right, who's next on this? Who wants to go? Step up. I'm ready. We're all ready. Daryl's there, Catherine's there, Linda. Those are the ones I can see on my screen. I know that Vienna's there. Don't be
Jennifer's
shy.
waving. Jennifer's waving.
Oh, Jennifer's waving. I couldn't see that. Jennifer, go ahead.
That's okay. I'm just volunteering so I can have my turn done. This is awesome. I mean, first of all, just really love seeing what's growing with our group and the people that are showing up and how people are connecting and finding our way through the muck. It's just so cool. And Dr. Dream and Daryl, Phil, and all of you have shared such amazing different pieces. And that's what we're here for. We're all a piece of the puzzle. And we're all being called to step into our part. For me, I kind of, as I look back, I've always had some sense of purpose. I never really knew what it was. It was just a feeling like I was here for something bigger and better. As a baby, I ate an ant button, and mom told me they could have lost me then. They had me in the hospital, those poisonous ant buttons. And when I was 8 years old, I was hit by a pickup truck out in front of our house, and I could have been gone then too, but that wasn't God's plan. So as you get older, and hindsight's 2020, and you look back and you can see the things, and you have your little aha moments, and you get a better understanding. Hindsight's 2020. You understand things better, why this happened and why that happened, and it does seem like some of the people that are here today. We are here for a purpose, and we did have to go through a lot of tough stuff to get here. But that was part of our awakening and preparation. I was just talking to somebody earlier, and for me, and I think a lot of you probably can resonate, I always see the good in people first. And that's, I believe, the way God created us. The world has, created this, you're guilty until, you're born a sinner, and you're guilty until proven innocent. But God created us as perfect souls, and we see the good. And when that happens, because we're that way, we tend to get hurt a lot because we wear our heart on the sleeve, and then there are those that are out there that maybe have had traumas and damages that, they're attracted to that and they kind of suck the life out of you for a while. But it's part of the journey, right? And we learn from it. I would probably say the biggest part of my awakening was losing, number one, the love of my life and the father of my kids 12 years ago. And then two, the event that for me started the Great Awakening. And that is where that aha moment, like, I know I've been here for a purpose. And I went straight to God and connected with him. And I said, you have to show me the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I have some big decisions to make for the kids and and you are my guide, and I only want truth. I don't want a bunch of information coming in that's not true. So for me, I was one of the people that fell down every rabbit hole, and I was shown a lot of stuff because I asked to be shown, and led me to my purpose. I mean, when the EE system information crossed my awareness, it was before the more broad release, and I think it was 2022 when that happened. But in 2021, and I knew right away there was something calling me to that technology. And I looked at all of the research. I looked at all of the testimonials. I started calling centers, and there weren't very many around. The closest one was probably 5 hours away in Kentucky. And then I actually ended up connecting with one in Pennsylvania and drove 10.5 miles away to experience it, at which point I already knew I was going to be doing this, but I had to do my due diligence. Anyway, that's how I got into what I'm doing here. And along that path, I started learning about some other truths, about how our identity had been stolen, and how we got here, but how, my bigger message is helping people remember who they are. And that's what's kind of been wiped away from us through these systems that were installed around us. I did a lot of work. I did a lot of learning, probably on some different levels. I did a status correction, and I just decided, oh, is it 5 minutes already?
I just upped you 30 seconds, so go ahead.
Okay, so that's pretty much it. I did a status correction, came back to the land and soil, and my purpose is to help people awaken, remember who you are. You have so much power and authority you don't even know. Let's heal yourself, step into your divine gifts so you can live your divine purpose and have that ripple effect. So that's it.
I love that. Thank you so much, Jen. I appreciate you and your words. Who is next on the... Who's ready? Who is ready?
Gail.
And
Gail's
Gail?
waving.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me know. Gail, go ahead.
Okay, so I think this is going to be kind of short, because, I've had lots of big things that have happened to me, but there was a little thing, a really little thing. It was winter, I think it was last winter, and I was sleepy in the middle of the afternoon, and there was a sunbeam laying across my bed. So I laid down and pulled the blanket over me and laid in that sunbeam and breathed, and must have drifted in and out of sleep and meditation. And when I was finished, I could feel that my lungs were open, or more open than they usually are. And I felt truly connected to the universe, to the planet and each other. And I didn't feel at all separate. But the biggest thing I remember was laying there with my eyes closed before it was time for me to get up, and just breathing in and feeling the air go all the way down to the bottom of my lungs, and then feeling that energy move out into my body. So I've been making effort to kind of recreate that, because it was so potent. And whether I ever get to that level of connectedness easily or not, the breathing is good for me, and the discipline is good for me to just stop everything and just breathe. The sunbeam was warm. I was doing something incredibly nurturing for me. And it wasn't something big, but there was a shift in me that occurred with that. I can't tell you what it is. I just know that it's there, and I've been trying to. I'm not going to be able to figure it out. It doesn't matter at this point because there've been a bunch of shifts since. But just, I want you all to remember that, even when you don't necessarily have the time, stop what you're doing and find your version of a sunbeam and breathe and rest and just let everything go. That's it. I give my minutes back, even though I love hearing. I'd like to thank the Academy for all of this wonderful.
You did good, Gail. I appreciate you. And I tried to see if I could make that sound just manually, and I couldn't do it, but we'll pretend that it's going on. Thank you for being here as always, and you are very, very special. Now, Vienna, who else has their hand up right now?
Right now, it looks like it's me.
Oh, all right. I love that. And you are on.
Thank you very much. I was delighted when human design came into my life, and it was cool. Okay, I'm a projector 1-3, la 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 la. And then I read a description, and I had long been looking for what's my purpose? What was I born for? Definitely like Jennifer, knew I had one. Just what in the world is it? I want to not miss a day of it. And when I found the exact description, third description of that, it was, I am designed to provoke people to recognize and release tension in their lives to increase the flow of energy in their body and life. And I was like, wow. And I mean, it was a description of everything I was doing. Massage therapy with orthobionomy, releasing tension to increase blood flow. It's counterintuitive. It's like the counter stretch. We're not stretching it to get more blood in, we're releasing it, coming toward the tension, and the blood rushes in. So that was one confirmation. Emotion code, finding the tension and releasing it. And so I just got more and more excited as things went along, and I saw that everything indeed was dovetailing. And if you come to a point, this was so encouraging for me. I was like, oh, I'm going to have to choose between massage therapy, emotion code. I picked up a couple of other hats along the way, and I kept asking intuitive people, how do I decide which of these am I supposed to follow? And they're like, yes, and yes. I'm like, what does that mean? And then as time went on, I realized, oh, I actually can integrate all of these things together in one session. And so it just became a beautiful flow for me. And then along the way, I one of my other deep desires was, oh, I want to hear God's voice, and I was surrounded by people who were connected, and they would ask a question and get an answer, and I'm like, what am I, chopped liver? It's just a really hopeless feeling. And then as I did emotion code, I came to learn muscle testing, muscle checking, as Victoria calls it. And at some point, I said, okay, can I use muscle checking as training wheels to get confident guidance until I can hear spirit clearly with inside of me? That my human being is connected with my eternal being, right? In a way that it makes sense, that I can actually hear and trust. And I got the most resounding yes in muscle testing. Yes. I was like, yes. And I did a little searching after and realized that somebody said to find out what your real destiny is, look for a trauma in your life and how you overcame it. And those will be the people you help. And it wasn't the tornado I was in as a child. I didn't become a weather forecaster. It was decision-making trauma. Every time a decision came up, I was just like, oh, I don't want to make the wrong decision. And then when I found muscle checking, where I could stop and tune in, and it was a conscious choice to trust it, to go, I've asked for guidance, and I'm increasingly unattached to the outcome, and I'm eager to hear. And so it helps me water my plants so they thrive, check on the leftovers to see if they're still good, and just which rib is out of sync, which direction do we need to go with it in massage, which emotion do I need to release? So it's just all these various things that it's been so, so useful to be able to use that tool. So I encourage you, if you are a muscle tester, to keep broadening out what you use that for. Turn right or left, because traffic patterns are known to God. It's not a mystery at all. So just tuning in, and then it's never ending expansion. It's like everything else in your life. It's like, yes, uh, I can I can ask more nuanced questions now. And I sit and be still and if it's a nebulous answer, I go, oh, there must be a different question. Or actually, I make statements now. There must be a different clarifying statement that I can make. Yes, okay, I'm listening. And then it comes, I check it, and away we go. Bless you in your communication.
Thank you, Vienna. Every interaction that I've had with you has elevated my experience and my consciousness, and I am deep gratitude for all that you are. Who is our next lucky person to step into this circle of love? And
Sylvia is raising her hand.
Fabulous. Sylvia, go for it.
Yeah, I was just the whole time thinking, what was my biggest thing in my life where I changed my life completely? It was literally my great love decided 20 years ago to went out of my life. And I felt in a big black hole. It was crazy because we were connected from past life, what I was feeling. And I dropped down my spirituality because he was always afraid about everything I saw, I felt, I said. So I dropped it down for him. And it went out that at one point in this deep black hole, I had a moment where I decided to grab myself out of this hole and sitting down and drawing a line and said, okay, this is line 0. So what are my skills? What is it, what I can do? does I want to still lay down, or does I want to breathe and experience life? And I decided I want to experience life. So I started to be self-employed. Before, I had no job, and I was writing applications again and again, and nothing worked out. And I started to finance my own certifications to be a coach. So I learned to be an NLP coach, wing wave coach. And I signed even up for shamanic training, and I dived back to spirituality. And for me, it was like a wake-up call, even if it was really painful for me, because I never felt pain like this. And if I think about it, still, even it's 20 years ago, still something what touches me really hard. But I'm in peace with this. And I can say I'm thankful, and I can thank him that he went out of my life, because I was living his life, not my life. I was living, I don't know, maybe his purpose. I have no clue. But in this 20 years, I went to, I can say, an evolution to be more and more me, that I can say I love myself. I started with meditation practice long time ago, and I tried out so many different meditations. Oh my gosh. And I came at one point to it's kind of holotropic breathwork, what is really, really amazing, because it's a breathwork where you start really slow to breathe, and then you go up faster and faster. This is even something what I do and guide beautiful souls in my meditations through, to release all what is not longer serving us, what hold us back. And for me, this is one of the biggest thing what I found for myself. It's an amazing tool, breath work at all, because most of the time we really breathe totally flat in daytime and absolutely not consciousness. But if we start to do this consciously, that's a big difference. And it brought, for me personally, a lot of healing, a lot of insights, a lot of like, I could put puzzle pieces together. And I received even a lot of downloads, how I'm going to do my healing sessions, how I'm going to do the ancestral healing through the 7 generations. And it was popping up like, okay, yes, I'm doing this. And it's interesting, I get more and more downloads, and all I can say for everyone who gets downloads, trust the downloads. I had so many times voices inside of me, they were, you think, or is this your thought? You wanna think this in this? And then it was, no, it's not my thought. It comes from nowhere. And every time if I speak this out, doing my healing sessions or ancestor healing, and even the guided meditations are completely downloads. And I trust in it, because the higher realms, they know exactly what they are doing and what is needed here on earth. And this is something what I love to share. That's my gifts. And everybody have these gifts, no doubt. We need to listen to it. We need to trust it, what we feel. And we need really to listen to our intuition. Because if I would have listened to my intuition, I wouldn't have this pain 20 years ago. I didn't listen. Yeah, and that's my biggest awakening I had, and it came with so many teachings. And I'm grateful for this and for this circle. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvie. Wow, you all are just sharing such beautiful aspects of your lives, and we're all getting the opportunity to know each other on a deeper level, and how beautiful is that? Vienna, who's raising their hand out there? Who do we see before I have to start calling on people? Catherine, are you ready? Linda, are you ready?
I'll go.
Okay, excellent. Here we go.
Okay. Um, I started out as a nurse and I've always wanted to help people. I always helped people even when I was younger. And I would, as a nurse, I know I should never have done this, but my first 8 years were orthopedics and neurology, and I just didn't want my patients to hurt. I'd hated seeing them in pain. And I would actually pray that God can give me their pain so they weren't in pain. And I know that's not something you should do, but I just didn't want them to hurt. And so I worked in the hospital for a while, and then in 1999, I got sick, and I was sick for 10 years, but I felt that I thought I was going to die, and I actually was hospitalized with meningitis with an 80% chance of dying. And my kids were 3 and 5 when it started. And I had a sister that was doing alternative, and she was, doing muscle testing and coming from the allopathic Western medicine. I thought, okay, this is kooky. This is really out there. But as I was sick and the medical profession was going to let me die because they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me, and the Zoloft wasn't helping, I started learning the different modalities she used. They used actually the biomeridian on me, but with time, it was a very long journey, but and I prayed to God, just let me live until my kids are in the 5th grade because I knew they could handle my death if they were old enough. But I was learning all different types of different things, and I knew Western medicine wasn't for me anymore. And so as I was getting better, it was like, okay, these things are helping me. I did end up getting diagnosed in 2009. I did do Western medicine, I did antibiotics, but from then on, I did alternative. I actually saw Dr. Tenpenny. She was our doctor and my kid's doctor too. But so when I started doing alternative, I learned that we need to let people know not to run to allopathic medicine first, that our bodies can heal. And what can you do? I worked in a natural health store, which helped me learn that, but I wasn't allowed to say, here, you can take this for that. And I had to be very careful. But now with my practice, I am so strong about teaching people. And I have my motto to them is I want to teach people no matter what it's about, and that God is doing this healing, and you don't have to fear a lot of these things that are alternative, because He created us to have our bodies heal itself. And even as it says in the Bible, we will be healing people. And so I make sure my clients learn. I send them videos on how to muscle test. And it's okay, did you muscle test? Oh, I forgot. Well, you got to try it. And I have a two-sided sheet that I give them of things they can do for themselves, because we need to learn how to take care of ourselves and prevent getting sick and going to the doctors or the hospitals, unless it's, of course, a chiropractor or somebody else that's natural, that's going to help their body work better. But so now, I mean, I realized the shift I took, but once I started getting better, I mean, and I was learning all these different things, I was actually seeing more clearly. I was seeing every leaf on the trees, and I didn't do that. Everything was crisp. The wind could just like, oh my gosh, it's like a tornado, but it wasn't bad, but you could hear all the leaves. It was like I came alive, and I hadn't been alive. And now I'm in a period where, I went through a divorce in 20. I went to the two deaths in December of 21. I had the death in January of 22, and then the other death in November of 22. And we just finished litigation. And I'm asking God, okay, are you clearing the way for me to be able to do anything and go anywhere? I'm trying to see, okay, what is the reason for this? Why has everybody, for the most part, been removed from my life? And so I'm actually, I'm, I don't want to say I'm excited about all this bad stuff, but I'm grateful for the quiet time, for the, I do need time to heal. I needed that time, and it is up and down, but just, it's just like a bliss when you can be in peace and sitting on my, patio and listening to the leaves and the sun is just like, okay, this is perfect. But so I'm enjoying learning and everything I'm learning, especially from Daryl. So many things. No, thank you. I don't need that in my life. And teaching other people the things that she says too. And it's like, no, it's just not worth it. And there it's like, wow, this is great.
Thank you so much, Catherine.
Uh-huh.
I such deep respect for you, and I love the way you've integrated allopathic and alternative, and it's like that's sort of what I was talking about before, the basis of humanopathy. So it's all very exciting. Now, since we've invoked Daryl several times so far, I'm going to go ahead and volunteer you, Daryl, to go ahead. Are you ready? Is she here?
Mute. Yeah, there it is. Okay, I'm born ready. So yes, I'm ready. Born ready.
Go for it.
Yeah, I was just really looking forward to hearing everyone and wanted to have everyone get to be heard. Do you know what I mean? So, anyway, and thank you, Catherine. You made me cry, of course. Love you. You're what I really appreciate what everybody's sharing here. So this will be really, maybe I won't even need all the 5 minutes, which would just be like a miracle or something. But anyway, so I would say that two big ahas sort of came, if you will, in experiences. One when I was 27. I had recently seen Reverend Sakata, and a lot of things were happening there, and decided to go to Mount Fuji, Japan, where at the basis of Mount Fuji is the temple, Buddhist temple, where I did my Buddhist practice. And so I wanted to say thank you and grateful to the universe and stuff like that. But the thing I didn't know, I was so surprised, is that I went by myself because I felt pretty safe on the planet, like the planet's my backyard or something. And I had no fear about it. I thought it was all wonderful and interesting and everything. But I missed this one little thing. They don't speak English in Japan. Well, who knew? What am I supposed to do now? I learned how to say sumimasen, which is excuse me, but I didn't know what to do next, like that. So anyway, long story, there was someone inside the organization that worked for them, that Mr. Shimada, we were about the same age. And so he was very helpful to me to get around. So I had all kinds of wonderful experiences because of Mr. Shimada. And Mr. Shimada actually like hand carried me out to Mount Fuji, which was several hours away by train. But anyway, so then the day before I was coming back to the States, he said, I want to take you to the nightclub of Tokyo area, which is called the Roppongi. So it's all kinds of shows and dancing and, all arcades, all kinds of stuff. And so now that we were there, and we were having this dinner, I began complaining about everything. It's so expensive here. Why is it so expensive? Coffee in America is a quarter. It's $5 here, and you don't get a refill unless you pay another $5. How come it's so expensive? How come my hotel room is so expensive and it's so teeny tiny? I can almost touch all four walls. I mean, I don't get it. It's so crowded. So that's called ugly American. Who knew? I was only 27 and from the Valley. What do I know? Nothing. And so anyway, as I was doing, the part that was so interesting to me is what Mr. Shimada did that changed me. And so there's a practice involved in this also, which is what he said is he said to find the fault or the flaw in something or someone is common. It's so obvious to everyone. But to find the diamond, now that's rare. I believe you are one of those rare ones that will always find the diamond in all things. I was goo with shame on the floor. That changed me. So the practice of that was now to see, because the ego wants to show its superiority by making others wrong and making other situations wrong or not enough or not good enough and all that. So then, so the practice of that was to find the diamond when I could see whatever was the flaw according to my ego defining that. So then fast forward to, not all that long ago, was the same kind of a when I realized that everything that in my life that has happened was preparation for my destiny, which is now. So then the second practice I still do with the aha that came with that is just because I can't see the good doesn't mean it's not there. It just means I can't see it. And that is also a practice. So those are my two big life transforming ahas that are still practices in my life. Thank you.
Thank you, Daryl. I'm waiting for the clock to tick down because I want you to have the experience of that music. And I have to say, you fit in to the 5-minute thing just perfect. And I thought that was lovely. And also finding the good, realizing it's there even when you don't see it. That is something you and I share on the core level. And of course, we're collaborating together. And
Yes.
2, 1, you win.
Woohoo, woohoo, woohoo.
Just love that. All right. So Vienna, help me out. Who else is got their hand up? Do I have a Linda out there? Do I have I can't see the list anymore of who's there.
Oh, there's Linda. There's Linda.
Linda, are you ready?
Yeah, I could be ready. Yeah.
All right.
Hi,
Here you
everybody.
go. You're on.
All right. So, I mean, there were a few, but one of the probably most pivotal was like after I had gone like in pursuit of my own personal healing, and it was the beginning of my conscious spiritual journey. I was awakened during like a weekend workshop that led me to India. And that's what we have in common with Daryl. I went to the Oneness University and I ended up going twice. And so there were pivotal moments there too. But that was like the biggest, like the awakening and then the tearing up who I thought I was, which I didn't know who I was anyway at that point, because I had been on disability and I wasn't a contributing member of society for so many years, and that had thrown me into a helter-skelter and stuff like that. And but I ended up studying under somebody that was very much into Ken Wilber's work, integral theory, and I learned to practice an energy-based practice. I see there's a Ken Wilber fan here. And he was very much into it. And I learned a practice that was energy based to move the energy of the body into the brain, the prefrontal cortex, the tips of scales and stuff like that. But and I loved it. I learned a lot. He scratched a lot of surfaces, including quantum, and all kinds of things about human development and the humanities evolution and just a lot of things. And he never promoted anything or anyone, but he did tell us, and we were steady students of his, and he told us about a community that Terry Patton, who wrote a book with Ken Wilber, he created a community called the New Republic of the Heart. And here I had been studying so much about the brain, and then I was studying a whole bunch about the heart. And one of my peers contacted me and said, like, she knew some of my history as far as like the foster care stuff and getting discriminated against for becoming a foster parent. And she goes, have you ever seen the movie Crip Camp? And I'm like, no. She's like, watch it. It's on YouTube. And I watched it. And at the beginning, it was, well, Michelle and Barack Obama were producers or something like that. But I watched it, but there was something going on in me that I just didn't know what was happening. And as I was watching it, and it was about some, like disabled kids, teens at a camp, crip, as in cripple camp. And it was back in the 70s. And I was just, there was something about it. It just, and at the end, I mean, I felt myself elated. And I was, thank you so much for sharing that. And I left it alone. Like I didn't know where it was coming from, but I was excited. It was really different. And a couple of weeks later, the woman from the Office of Civil Rights that handled my case that ended up, I was a claimant in a discrimination case that ended up being, like a landmark case, and Obama signed everything over. It was my county or me against the state of Georgia. It started with county. My county discriminated against me. But it was against the state of Georgia. And the lady called and she's like, it's the 30-year anniversary this year of the American Disabilities Act. And we'd like for you to do a video for the, for the commemoratory site that they were creating. And I was like, sure, you're just going to have to remind me of, like some of the details. And I don't know what it was, 503, 504. She's like, you don't remember, and she got to me a little bit and she's like, do you realize your name is a household name in the Office of Civil Rights? I was like, no, I mean, it's like, Linda, do you know there's a judge that knows you inside out in, I forget what county she said, Troup County. I was like, I don't understand. She's like, there was a case of a little, of a newborn being taken away from his, the disabled mother as soon as it was born because she wasn't capable, she was developmentally delayed. And her parents raised her and were going to help raise the grandchild, but the child got taken away at birth. And they got the baby back 2 years later because of your case. He had to study your case. He learned it inside out. And he's going around to all these different, judges and teaching courses for the judges and wow, that was quick. So I authored or co-authored a book, I'll end it real quick, about behind the scenes, that there's always something going on behind the scenes and breadcrumbs being dropped, and looking for those, and that we're each differently abled. So I'm getting to the punchline. We're each differently abled. And I believe that's what it's all about, is each of us acknowledging that we restore or go back to our true divine nature and find that different ability to uniquely offer it to the world and work synchronistically with one another to co-create heaven on earth, basically. So that's it in a nutshell.
Thank you, Linda. I appreciate that. Stephanie's microphone's not working, so I'm going to give up my chair to her. She's going to come right over here and get started. And here you go.
Hey, everyone. So something that really has changed like my life and perspective is actually really simple. It's all in thought. And it was turning the I have to's to I get to. It's been really powerful for me, like then no longer are you here having to do something, like you're getting to do something. And in that, it's like a deeply spiritual experience. I get to wake up in the morning and make breakfast and nourish my body. I get to go to work and work hard and feel good about my output, my contribution. I get to have these strong relationships with my friends and my family. I get to travel this beautiful planet. Like, it's so amazing. And then I turn that into like gratitude. Like gratitude is my favorite thing. It is magic, in my opinion. The more gratitude that you have, the more life gives you gratitude, more to be grateful for. Um, and so every night before I go to bed, I like to pray to God. And I don't really ask for things for myself. I do ask for like love and blessings to like the people that I know that need it. But for me, I just give thanks for everything that I do have. And that's my prayer every night. And I feel like it gives me time to reflect and to connect to source. And then also just to like, go to sleep with all that gratitude in my heart and like have it hold me through the night while I rest and then wake up to have another day full of opportunities that give me reasons to smile and laugh and be happy and have more gratitude for everything. So that is definitely short. I've never spoken before, so thanks, guys. I mean, on the Zoom, it's my first time. um, but yeah, just like I get to live life and love, and then also like my spiritual, I guess, thing that's been my thing for as long as I can remember is that I'm here to be love and that like that is my spiritual mission and purpose, and I get to fulfill that every single day in small acts all over the planet. The internet's really cool, so I can be love through the internet and just send love places. I can do it with my neighbors or somebody in a grocery store, with my family. In every act of kindness, every act of love, like I get to fulfill my purpose, and it is really satisfying and brings me a lot of joy, and I think a lot of joy to the people that I surround myself with. Right. Thank you all for the opportunity to speak. I love you all. And thank you all for your shares also. You all are amazing and such good wisdom shared tonight. Thank you.
We get a kiss?
Love you.
Wow. How cool was that? Okay. Now,
That
who's
was a
next?
wow.
Right? She does exist,
Yeah.
everyone. That was Stephanie. That's not AI
Who
Stephanie.
was
That's
that?
real Stephanie. All right. We have time for a couple more. Who is ready? Who wants to talk? Who wants to share? Gail, let's have you. Go ahead, please. Let me go ahead and unmute yourself. Yep. And
Right now. So I'm not really sure what to do. This is my first time joining the chat and my first time speaking. So I'll start with a little bit. Currently in my life, I am walking down the golden road to Racely Reward. Back in the end of February, beginning of March of this year, I entered a hospice with the diagnosis of only surviving 10 to 14 days the most, with a real outside chance of making it 6 months. Well, I've entered my 8th month now. So that I find is a little amusing at that, because obviously the doctor had something wrong. But this path has been interesting, seeing people, how many nurses I had an effect on, even here just staying in hospice, not really knowing what's going on in the outside world other than what's on the television and on the news at night, which I pretty much try to avoid nowadays. I don't watch much news anymore because it gets rather depressing. Did I lose you guys for a second? Anyway, in the path that I walk,
You just got muted again, Gail. Still muted.
okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, good, thank you. I guess I wasn't supposed to say that. Well, in my path along the way, I basically don't watch much news anymore. Not like I used to digest it. Or in the evenings, it'll be literally hours on end of news. I'd rather watch baking shows instead of that. Or because my eyes get blurry now when I try to read, I don't even read. Although before this happened, entering hospice. My eyes were going blurry, so I learned the books on audio much better. I haven't read by the author, very much enjoyable, as opposed to hearing just somebody else read them. Connecting with friends and talking to them, I find much more enjoyable now than when I used to speak with them. It's interesting how many people have closed doors and yet others who have opened the doors. Some friends who I used to see maybe once or twice a week. Okay, let's try this again. Friends I used to see once or twice a week or daily. That's kind of shifted itself about. Now I'm either seeing them not even as often as I was, or I'm seeing them more often than I used to. I'm finding that interesting. And relations with my family and my friends. With my family, I find that sometimes stressful. And just kind of walking the street and wondering what's going on and how everything is going.
You're muted. We lost you. There you go.
Okay, I'll try this again now. So what I was saying is that as I'm walking this path, I'm trying to do more meditation as well and connect with my higher power and try to brighten everyone's day, whether or not they might not be nice to me. I try to be nice to them. And I said both to the nurses and to the other people who come in. It's like I can't do anything but listen to what you have to say. So talk to me. Now listen, I'll try to help transform it if I can. I'm just looking at this all being part of my work as to what I'm doing. Well, I think that's about all I have left to say. So I will now try and demute or put myself back on mute.
Gail, I want to thank you. I was hoping that you would speak tonight. From the moment I met you over 2 decades ago in Sedona, you had an impact on me and my daughter, and just your heart-based love that you are was always present. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I love you very much, and I appreciate you being here, and I particularly appreciate you making it to the It's All Good circle tonight. Thank you so much, dear. Oh, so we have time for one more. If there's somebody that is wanting to step into the circle right now, this would be your opportunity. Is there anyone else? No pressure. Glenda, are you okay? Yeah, go ahead and unmute, dear, and let's.
Yes, there we go. Okay, this is my first time, so I'm still learning the method of what's happening here. So, I wanted to share that. Well, first of all, I have to tell you that I live in Southeast Alabama, and it's a rural area. And Dr. Dream visited us quite a few years ago. So when I saw this, I was interested in seeing how it worked. And what I wanted to share was that I've prayed to be a beneficial presence. That's my prayer. Those are my words. And so my husband passed a couple of years ago, and I was able to walk him home. I was able to be with him on the final part of his journey, which was a real privilege. And since then, I've just put it out there that wherever I might be needed. And so a few weeks ago, I had an opportunity to accompany some friends who needed to go from here to Jacksonville, Florida for medical treatment. And I was going to help with the driving and help with the wheelchair and whatever I could do to be of help. And so I knew a person in Jacksonville, but they lived across town from where the medical facility was. And being in this small rural area, I wasn't used to driving in a big town like Jacksonville. If you've ever driven there, it's a lot of freeways, and most of them are on bridges across waters and things. And so I went ahead and made the plans to go and committed myself to going, and I was borrowing my friend's car. And so I was filled with a lot of anxiety about doing that trip. And I did, my affirmative prayer method is, I'm a religious scientist, so I do spiritual mind treatment. And so I did a lot of affirmative spiritual mind treatment. And when I got in the car to start driving, I felt that I was just immersed in this warm cloud, this warm feeling of warmth and taken care of. And every time my mind would get a little nervous and I would go to a fearful thought or see a lot of traffic ahead, I would just go back to that warm feeling. And it was just wonderful to realize that it was always there within me. And all I had to do was just recognize it and just relax into it. So that was a real, that was a recent revelation, a recent feeling of accomplishment for me. And I wanted to share that. Thank you all.
Wow, Glenda, it is so meaningful for me to have you here. And thank you so much. And I just want to, in closing, 13 of us shared tonight, and you didn't share on the surface. We all shared from our hearts, and I want you to know that I felt every one of your hearts. And this circle was set up to be a loving, accepting space for everyone. And tonight, like no other time for the It's All Good circle, we stepped into that. We all stepped into that. And those of you that didn't share held space. And it was beautiful. And I'm so deeply touched. I want to thank you all for showing up tonight and for showing up in this world. And I just want you to know, as I always let you know at the end of the It's All Good circle, I love you. I love you so much. And if there is anything that you need, that I can assist you with, that your expansion, your whatever it is, I am absolutely here for you. And we'll be back next week on October 20th. It's a day after my birthday. So I was thinking, oh, let's not do it. And then I thought, no, let's absolutely do it. And so I'll look forward to being here with all of you. Thank you so much for tonight. This was beyond any expectation that I could have had about this. And you are loved. You are divine. And we all get to carry this until we meet here again next week. Thank you all so much. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.